Vera Kuznetsova was wiping down tables when she heard the Russian, the kind of old-world dialect her grandmother made her swear she'd never speak in public. The men in suits were seconds from a deal going lethally wrong, and every instinct screamed at her to stay invisible. But when the silver-haired man with the scar insulted the coffee, she made a choice that would either save her family or destroy it. The penthouse overlooked the city like a throne over subjects. Floor-to-ceiling windows framed the skyline in gold as dawn broke, but Dante Cavalieri wasn't admiring the view. He stood at his mahogany desk, jaw tight, staring at a contract written in Russian Cyrillic that might as well have been hieroglyphic. His fingers traced the lines, attempting to decode meaning from shape. The letters swam, flipped, mocked him. He'd built an empire on the perception of control, on knowing more than everyone else in the room, on never, ever showing weakness. And yet here he was, alone in his fortress, betrayed by his own mind. Dyslexia didn't care about your net worth, boss. His second-in-command, Enzo, appeared in the doorway. The Russians confirmed. Noon. But there's a change. The location, Dante finished, setting the document down with measured calm. Where? Some diner. The Bluebird off Highway 9. They want neutral ground. Dante's expression didn't flicker, but inside, alarm bells rang. Neutral ground meant they didn't trust him. Changing locations last minute meant they were testing him. And his translator, the one person who could navigate the linguistic minefield of a Russian negotiation, had called in sick that morning. Convenient timing. Get Petrov on the phone. Confirm we'll be there. Enzo hesitated. And the translator situation? Dante's eyes went cold. I'll handle it. He didn't know how. But he'd learned long ago, never let them see you sweat. 15 miles away, Vera Kuznetsova was sweating, but only because the Bluebird Diner's AC had died again, and her boss was too cheap to fix it. Table 4 wants his eggs redone. Rita called from the kitchen window, her voice sing-song with schadenfreude. Says they're too runny. Vera didn't look up from the coffee pot she was refilling. Tell Table 4 that if he wanted them cooked differently, he should have specified before I brought them the first time. Or better yet, he should learn to cook. An old trucker at the counter snorted into his mug. Rita grinned. You tell him. Oh, I will. Vera grabbed the coffee pot and headed to Table 4, where a middle-aged man in a stained polo was scrolling his phone with aggressive entitlement. She set the pot down with a pointed thunk. I hear we have a problem. He didn't look up. Yeah. These eggs are raw. She glanced at the plate. The eggs were perfect, over medium, exactly as ordered. Sir, those eggs are cooked precisely to the temperature you requested. I said scrambled. Vera's smile could have cut diamonds. You said over medium. I wrote it down. I repeated it back to you. And you nodded. Now he looked up, face reddening. Are you seriously arguing with me? No, I'm correcting you. There's a difference. The trucker was fully grinning now. Table 4 sputtered. I want to speak to your manager. Bold choice, Vera said cheerfully. He's going to tell you the same thing, but with less charm. She walked away, ponytail swinging. Rita was dying laughing when Vera reached the counter. Girl, you're gonna get fired one of these days. Not today. Harold needs me. Vera poured herself coffee. Besides, I'm the only one who speaks Russian, and we've got that weird meeting at noon. What meeting? Some suits rented the back corner. Paid triple for privacy. Rita raised an eyebrow. Here. Should be entertaining. Vera had no idea how much. At 11:45, 3 black SUVs pulled up outside. Vera was wiping down the counter when she saw them through the window. Men in suits that cost more than her annual rent stepped out, scanning the area like Secret Service. And then he emerged. Tall. Dark hair swept back with precision. Expensive watch catching sunlight. He moved like a predator, smooth, deliberate, aware of every eye on him. Vera knew the type instantly. Money. Power. Ego. Great. She grabbed menus and her best customer service smile, the one that was polite but had teeth. The bell chimed. The diner went quiet. Dante Cavalieri walked in like he owned the place, because men like him walked everywhere like that. His eyes swept the room, cataloging exits, threats, advantages. Then they landed on Vera. For a heartbeat, something flickered in his expression. She walked over, utterly unimpressed. "Welcome to the Bluebird," she said brightly. "Let me guess, cappuccinos and the Wi-Fi password?" One of his men bristled. Dante's expression remained neutral, but his eyes sharpened. "We have a reservation," he said. His voice was deep, controlled, with an edge that suggested he wasn't used to repeating himself. "The back corner booth." "I know." She gestured. "Right this way, gentlemen." As she led them through the diner, she felt his gaze on her back. She didn't care. She'd served plenty of men who thought they were important. The Russians arrived at noon exactly. 4 men entered, and the temperature dropped 10 degrees. The lead man was older, silver-haired, with a scar through his left eyebrow. His suit was expensive but worn with indifference. His gaze landed on Dante's table. He smiled. It wasn't friendly. Vera's stomach tightened. She'd grown up on stories of men like this. The Russians approached. Brief handshakes. They sat. Silence. Then the silver-haired man spoke, in rapid, flawless Russian. Dante's face remained impassive, but Vera saw it, the microscopic tightening around his eyes. He understood some. Not enough. He replied in Italian, testing. The Russian smiled wider, shook his head, continued in Russian. A power play. Dante's men shifted uncomfortably. The translator hadn't come. Vera watched from the coffee station as the negotiation crumbled. The Russian spoke faster, almost taunting. Dante responded in careful English. The Russian waved a dismissive hand and said something that made his men chuckle. Dante couldn't even respond. The power was shifting. Not her problem. She grabbed the coffee pot and headed over. "Gentlemen, coffee?" The Russian boss glanced at her, then muttered in Russian, "Amerikansky kof, kak gryazneya voda." American coffee, like dirty water. Vera's hand froze. Every instinct screamed to walk away. But her grandmother's voice echoed, "Never let them think you're weak." She set the pot down and looked the Russian directly in the eye. In perfect Russian, she said, "I uz vyp try chashki I ostavite uzhasnai shayavai. And yet you'll drink 3 cups and leave a terrible tip." The booth went silent. The Russian's eyebrows shot up. One of his men coughed to cover a laugh. Then the boss threw his head back and laughed. "Real. Genuine. Delighted. Ty Gavority Peruski? You speak Russian?" Vera shrugged, adrenaline singing but face calm. "Nemnogo. A little." He laughed again. "Laws. Tvoy accent, Moskovsky." "A lie. Your accent, Moscow." The Russian turned to Dante. "Where did you find her?" Dante's eyes locked on Vera. Desperate. Calculating. Hopeful. He stood smoothly. "She's my translator." The lie hung in the air. Vera could walk away. But Dante's eyes met hers. Please. She thought of her brother's tuition. Her mother's prescriptions. The $60 she didn't have. Screw it. She set down the pot, pulled out her order pad and looked at Dante. "You look stressed, honey." Decough. For 20 minutes, Vera became a bridge between worlds. The Russian, Mikhail, spoke quickly with idioms that didn't translate directly. Dante responded in English, measured and careful. Vera translated. But not just words. Context. Subtext. Cultural nuance. When Mikhail said something that literally meant, "Your father's house has weak doors," Vera turned to Dante. "He's implying your security has leaked. He knows about the shipment delay." Dante's eyes flickered. "Tell him the delay was intentional. A test of patience." Vera switched to Russian, softening the phrasing. Mikhail nodded, appeased. When Dante made a counteroffer, Vera noted Mikhail's drumming fingers. A tell. "He's interested," she murmured. But he wants you to think he's not. Push the percentage up 2 points. Dante studied her, then nodded. She was right. The deal inched forward. But this wasn't her world. And every minute at this table made her complicit in something she didn't understand. When Mikhail excused himself for a phone call, Dante turned to her. "Where did you learn Russian?" His voice was low, meant only for her. Vera kept her eyes on her notepad. "Duolingo. Very dedicated." "Don't." She looked up. His gaze was intense. "Don't what?" "Deflect. I need to know who you are." She laughed short, sharp. "You need to know if I'm trustworthy. If I'm going to sell whatever secrets I'm hearing." He didn't deny it. She leaned back, arms crossed. "My grandmother taught me. She came from Moscow in the 70s with nothing but a suitcase and a dream of not getting killed. She cleaned houses, raised my mom alone, and made me promise I'd never forget where we came from." Her voice hardened. "Personal enough for you, boss?" Something shifted in his expression. "My mother was Russian." Vera blinked. "What?" "No one knows. My father's family, old Italian blood, wouldn't have accepted her. So she hid it. Changed her name. Erased her past." His jaw tightened. "She taught me phrases when I was young, but after my father found out, she stopped. Too dangerous." Vera stared at this man in his $1,000 suit and saw something unexpected. Loneliness. "Why tell me this?" "Because I need you to understand. I know what it's like to live between worlds." Before she could respond, Mikhail returned. The negotiation resumed. But now, something had changed between them. A thread of recognition. An hour later, Mikhail stood. "We'll consider your proposal." 48 hours. Not yes. Not no. In Dante's world, progress. Mikhail turned to Vera, switching to Russian. "Kak tebia zovat? What's your name?" "Vera. Familia." She hesitated. Giving her last name felt like opening a locked door. But something in his eyes made her answer. "Kuznetsova." Mikhail went very still. "Kuznetsova. Is Moskvy?" "My grandmother was." "Kak ye zvali?" Vera's throat tightened. "Katya. Ekaterina Kuznetsova." Mikhail's face transformed. The hardness melted. "Katya," he breathed. "Bozhe moi." He sat back down, gestured for her to do the same. "Your grandmother, I knew her. Before she left." His eyes were distant. "She was extraordinary. Brilliant. Brave." He looked at Vera with new eyes. "You have her fire." Vera's chest constricted. "You knew her." Everyone knew Katya. She chose freedom over everything. He reached across, placed his weathered hand over hers. "Ona Bila by Gordela's Toboy. She would be proud of you." Tears burned Vera's eyes. Dante watched, understanding fragments but reading the emotion clearly. Mikhail stood again. He looked at Dante. "Because of her," he gestured to Vera, "you have my respect." He left a $100 bill on the table. As the Russians exited, the diner exhaled. Vera sat frozen, her grandmother's memory flooding through her. Dante watched her. "You okay?" She stood abruptly. "I need 2 tables." She fled to the kitchen, pressed her back against the walk-in freezer. She'd just translated for the Mafia. Her grandmother's past had collided with her present. And the man in the expensive suit had looked at her like she was more than a waitress. What the hell just happened? The lunch rush came and went. Vera moved through it on autopilot, her mind spinning with Russian phrases and her grandmother's ghost. At 3 o'clock, the diner finally emptied. Harold was counting the $100 bill like it might disappear. "Best Tuesday we've had in months." Rita nudged Vera. "So, those suit. Specifically, the tall one who couldn't stop staring at you." "He wasn't staring. Girl, he was staring." The bell chimed. Vera looked up. Dante stood in the doorway, alone this time. Her heart did something complicated. He approached the counter. "Can we talk?" Rita made a noise that might have been a squeal. Vera shot her a look. I'm working. Your shift ended 10 minutes ago, Rita supplied helpfully. Traitor. Dante's lips twitched, almost a smile. Please. 5 minutes. Vera untied her apron, sighed. Fine. They sat in the corner booth, the same one where he'd nearly lost everything hours earlier. For a moment, neither spoke. Then Dante slid an envelope across the table. Vera opened it. $500 in cash. For today, he said simply. She pushed it back. I didn't agree to anything. I helped because, she paused. I don't actually know why I helped. Because you're a good person. She laughed. You don't know that. I know you could have walked away. You didn't. Vera studied him, really looked at him. Without his men, without the armor of authority, he seemed almost human. Tired. Uncertain. What do you want, Dante? I want to hire you. Officially. We've been through this. Hear me out. He leaned forward. I have another meeting. Thursday. Different group, same problem. I need someone I can trust. You don't trust me. You just met me. You're right. I don't trust easily. His eyes held hers. But you had a dozen opportunities to sabotage me today. You didn't. That means something. Or it means I'm playing a long game. A smile ghosted across his face. Are you? No. Then help me. One more time. After that, if you want out, you're out. No strings. Vera wanted to say no. Should say no. But her phone buzzed. Her brother. Mom's appointment got moved up. They want payment up front. $450. Her stomach dropped. She had $73 in her account. Dante noticed her face change. What's wrong? She shouldn't tell him. Showing vulnerability to men like him was dangerous. But something about the way he'd shared his own secret earlier made her answer. My mom. She's sick. Needs treatment we can't afford. She laughed bitterly. Story of my life, right? Always one bill away from disaster. Dante was quiet for a moment. Then, I'll cover it. Vera's head snapped up. What? Your mother's treatment. I'll cover it. All of it. No. Vera. I said no. Her voice was steel. I'm not a charity case. I work for what I get. Then work for me. As what? Your employee? Your kept woman? What happens when you get bored or I'm not useful anymore? He flinched. It's not like that. Isn't it? She stood. Men like you? Everything's transactional. And I won't be bought. She grabbed her bag, started to leave. My mother died because of pride. Vera stopped. Dante's voice was rough. She needed treatment. My father could have afforded it, but she refused to ask. Said she wouldn't beg. He looked up and his eyes were haunted. She died when I was 16. And I learned that pride is expensive. Vera slowly sat back down. I'm not trying to buy you, Dante said quietly. I'm trying to keep you from making her mistake. Silence stretched between them, heavy with things unsaid. Finally Vera spoke. What was her name? Irina. Dante's voice softened. Irina Volkov. She came here at 19, married my father at 20. Spent the next 15 years pretending to be Italian. He traced a pattern on the table. She used to sing to me in Russian when my father wasn't home. Lullabies. Poems. She made me promise never to tell anyone. And you never did? Not until today. He met her eyes. Not until you. Vera felt something crack open in her chest. My grandmother sang too, she said quietly. Every night before bed. She'd say the words connected us to something bigger than ourselves. That language was memory made solid. Do you remember any? Vera hesitated, then softly sang. Dante's breath caught. He continued, his voice rough with emotion. They stared at each other. Your mother sang that? Vera whispered. He nodded, unable to speak. So did my grandmother. The weight of it settled over them. Two people from opposite worlds, connected by the same lullaby sung by women who'd hidden their identities to survive. Vera's eyes filled. She died 5 years ago. My grandmother. Lung cancer. She worked 3 jobs her whole life, cleaning offices at night, and never complained once. A tear slipped down her cheek. The last thing she said to me was, "Bud Silnoy. Be strong." You are. I don't feel strong. I feel exhausted. Dante reached across the table, hesitated, then gently took her hand. She should pull away. She didn't. Tell me about her, he said. And Vera did. She told him about Katya's escape from Moscow, about the stories of narrow misses and borrowed coat, about how she'd learned English from library books and taught Vera Russian in secret because you never know when you'll need to disappear. She told him about her mother's diagnosis, MS, progressive, expensive, about her brother, brilliant and kind, working 2 jobs while taking classes, about how she'd promised to keep the family together, no matter what. Dante listened, really listened. When she finished, he said, "Thursday's meeting. 500 for 2 hours. Plus I cover your mother's appointment." Dante, it's not charity. It's payment for services rendered. Your skilled labor. I'm compensating you fairly. His thumb traced circles on her hand. Let me help you. Please. The word again. Please. Coming from him, it felt like surrender. Vera took a shaky breath. 1 meeting. That's it. 1 meeting. But they both knew it was already more than that. Rita was waiting when Vera returned to the counter. Spill. Everything. Now. Vera grabbed a rag, started wiping down tables. There's nothing to spill. He held your hand for 15 minutes. I timed it. You're creepy. I'm invested. There's a difference. Rita blocked her path. I've known you 3 years. I've never seen you let anyone close. And that man? He looked at you like you hung the moon. He looked at me like a useful employee. Honey, no. That was something else entirely. Vera's phone buzzed. A notification from her bank. A deposit. $2,000. Her hands shook. A text from an unknown number. For your mother. Not charity. An advance on Thursday. DC. Oh, he's smooth, Rita said, reading over her shoulder. Vera should be angry. Should send it back. Instead, she forwarded the deposit information to her mother's medical office. Appointment confirmed, came the automatic reply. Vera pressed her palm to her chest, where something warm and terrifying was taking root. I'm in trouble, aren't I? She whispered. Rita squeezed her shoulder. The best kind. Thursday arrived wrapped in anxiety and anticipation. Vera changed clothes 3 times before settling on black pants and a simple blue blouse, professional but not trying too hard. Rita Wolf whistled when she emerged from the bathroom. Look at you. Shut up. He's gonna lose his mind. It's a business meeting. Keep telling yourself that. Dante sent a car at noon. An actual car. With a driver who opened her door and called her ma'am. Vera felt ridiculous. The meeting was in a private room at an upscale Italian restaurant. When she walked in, Dante stood immediately. He wore a different suit, charcoal gray, perfectly tailored. But his eyes were the same, intense, assessing, warm. You came. You paid me $2,000. I'm professional. His smile was slight but genuine. Fair enough. The clients arrived. An older Italian couple looking to expand their import business. They spoke minimal English, and Dante's Italian, while fluent, lacked the nuance needed for contract negotiations. Vera stepped in. She'd studied Italian in high school, polished it in college before she dropped out. It came back easily, flowing alongside her Russian and English. The negotiation was smooth. Almost easy. And somewhere in the middle of translating terms and conditions, Vera realized she was enjoying herself. This wasn't serving coffee or appeasing angry customers. This was using her mind. Being valued for her skills. She caught Dante watching her with something like pride. It did dangerous things to her heart. After the clients left, Dante ordered lunch. I didn't agree to lunch, Vera said. You didn't disagree either. He gestured to the spread. Besides, you haven't eaten since breakfast. How do you know that? You get a small line here. He touched the space between his eyebrows, when you're hungry and pretending you're not. She was too startled to protest. They ate. And somewhere between the pasta and the tiramisu, they started talking. Really talking. He told her about growing up in his father's shadow, about the pressure to be ruthless when he wanted to be fair, about how he'd inherited an empire he never asked for and didn't know how to escape. She told him about her dreams, the ones she'd put aside when her mother got sick. How she'd wanted to be a translator for the UN. How she'd had a full scholarship before everything fell apart. You could still do it, Dante said. I'm 28 with no degree and 3 jobs. That ship sailed. Ships can turn around. She laughed. Not mine. What if I told you I could help? I'd say you have a savior complex. He smiled. Maybe. Or maybe I see potential everyone else overlooked. Vera's breath caught. The air between them shifted. Charged. Dante reached across the table, tucked a strand of hair behind her ear. You're extraordinary, Vera Kuznetsova. You barely know me. Then let me. She should say no. Instead, she leaned into his touch. This is a bad idea. Probably. You're my employer. Technically. Your world is dangerous. I know. I don't do complicated. Neither do I. His thumb traced her cheekbone. Then what are we doing? She whispered. I have no idea. He kissed her. Soft. Tentative. Like he was asking permission. She kissed him back. And for one perfect moment, the world outside that room didn't exist. For 6 days, Vera lived in a dream. Dante called every morning. They met for coffee, real coffee, not diner sludge. He asked about her mother's treatment, her brother's classes, her day. He looked at her like she mattered. She was falling, and she knew it. Rita said she glowed. Her brother said she smiled more. Her mother, frail but perceptive, asked, "Who is he?" Vera deflected. "Just a friend." But friends didn't make your heart race. Friends didn't kiss you goodnight like you were precious. On the 7th day, everything shattered. Vera was closing the diner when a black sedan pulled up. Not Dante's. A man stepped out. Mid-40s, expensive suit, predator's smile. Every instinct screamed danger. He walked in, sat at the counter. Coffee. Black. Vera poured with steady hands despite her hammering heart. "We're closing. This won't take long." He smiled. "I'm Luca. Associate of Dante's." She knew that name. Dante had mentioned him. A rival, ambitious, ruthless. "What do you want?" "To talk about your new boyfriend." "He's not." "Please." Luca's smile widened. "You think we don't notice? Dante Cavalieri doesn't do relationship. Yet here you are. The little waitress who speaks Russian." He leaned forward. "You're either very lucky or very stupid. I'm working. Say what you came to say. Direct. I like that." His eyes went cold. "Here's the situation. Dante's going soft. Bad for business. That deal with the Russians? Should have been mine. But he brought you, and now Mikhail thinks he's untouchable. Not my problem. It is now." Luca slid a photo across the counter. Vera's blood turned to ice. Her brother. Leaving campus. Unaware he was being followed. His name's Tommy, right? Good kid. Be a shame if something happened. Vera's hands clenched. "You son of a..." "Careful." Luca's voice was silk over steel. "Here's what's going to happen. Dante has a meeting next week. Big one. You're going to mistranslate. Create confusion. Make him look weak. No. Then Tommy has an accident. Maybe your mother's medication gets delayed. These things happen." Tears of rage burned her eyes. "Why are you doing this?" "Because Dante's weakness is you. And I need him gone." Luca stood, dropped a 20 on the counter. You have until next Wednesday. Choose wisely. He left. Vera collapsed against the counter, shaking. Her phone rang. Dante. She stared at it, unable to answer. Everything she'd feared was coming true. His world was poison. And now it was destroying hers. She let it go to voicemail. For 3 days, Vera avoided Dante's calls. She told herself she was protecting him. Protecting her family. But really, she was terrified. Wednesday came too fast. Dante sent a car. She almost didn't get in. But Luca's threat hung over her like a guillotine. The meeting was in a warehouse, neutral territory for a deal between Dante and a Greek shipping magnate. Vera walked in feeling like she was walking to her execution. Dante's face lit up when he saw her. You've been avoiding me. I've been busy. Vera, can we just do this? Please. Hurt flashed in his eyes, but he nodded. The Greeks arrived. The negotiation began. Vera translated, accurately at first. But then came the critical moment, terms of percentage splits. The Greek said 15%. Vera heard herself say, he's offering 5%. Dante's eyes narrowed. 5? That's insulting. He countered with 8. The Greek, confused, grew angry at the perceived lowball. Voices raised. Tension spiked. Vera's heart hammered. She was sabotaging him. Exactly as Luca wanted. And Dante knew. She saw the moment he understood. His eyes locked on hers, betrayal dawning. Excuse us, he said tightly. He pulled her aside into a side office. What the hell is going on? I made a mistake. Bullshit. You don't make mistakes. His voice was hard. Tell me the truth. She couldn't look at him. I can't. Vera. Just let me go, Dante. Fire me. Forget you ever met me. Why? She broke. Because your world is poison. Tears streamed down her face. Because Luca threatened my brother, my mother, everyone I love. Because being near you makes me a target. Understanding crashed over him. Luca came to you. He showed me pictures. He said if I didn't sabotage you, Tommy would have an accident. She was sobbing now. What was I supposed to do? Dante's expression went deadly calm. You were supposed to come to me. Why? So you could what? You're one of them, Dante. This is your world. You think I'd trust you with my family's life? The words were knives. He stared at her, something breaking behind his eyes. You really believe that? That I'm just like them? I don't know what to believe anymore. Silence. Then Dante turned and walked out. Vera collapsed against the wall, destroyed. For 6 days, Vera lived in a dream. Dante called every morning. They met for coffee, real coffee, not diner sludge. He asked about her mother's treatment, her brother's classes, her day. He looked at her like she mattered. She was falling, and she knew it. Then Tuesday shattered everything. Vera was closing the diner when a black sedan pulled up. Not Dante's. A man stepped out. Mid-40s, expensive suit, cold eyes. Luca Santoro. She'd seen him at that first meeting, hovering at the edges. He walked in, smiled. It didn't reach his eyes. Vera Kuznetsova. We haven't been formally introduced. Her stomach dropped. We're closed. This won't take long. He sat at the counter uninvited. You've gotten close to Dante. That's interesting. I work for him occasionally. That's all. Is it? He pulled out his phone, showed her photos. Her brother leaving campus. Her mother at a clinic. Her apartment building. Vera's blood turned to ice. What do you want? Dante has another meeting. Friday. Russians again, finalizing the deal you helped start. His smile widened. You're going to make a small mistake. Mistranslate one key phrase. Something subtle that creates just enough doubt to kill the deal. No. I don't think you understand. This isn't a request. He zoomed in on a photo of her brother. Miguel, right? 22. Computer science major. Walks home alone every Tuesday and Thursday after his night class. It would be a shame if something happened to him. Vera's hands shook. You're threatening my family over a business deal? I'm ensuring my interests are protected. Dante's getting too comfortable, too legitimate. He needs to remember his place. Luca stood. Friday. One small mistake. Then you disappear from his life and your family stays safe. Simple. He left a business card. In case you need motivation. When he was gone, Vera collapsed against the counter, tears streaming. She wanted to call Dante. Wanted to believe he'd protect her. But Luca was right. Dante's world was poison, and she'd been naive to think she could touch it without getting burned. Friday came too fast. Dante picked her up personally, his smile warm. You ready? She forced brightness into her voice. Always. He touched her cheek. You okay? You seem distant. Just tired. He didn't look convinced but didn't push. The meeting was in a private conference room. Mikhail and his associates on one side, Dante and his men on the other. Vera sat beside Dante, translator and traitor. The negotiation progressed smoothly. Too smoothly. Then came the critical moment. Final terms, shipping routes, timeline. Mikhail spoke in Russian, outlining the delivery schedule. Vera's throat closed. This was it. The moment Luca demanded she sabotage. She looked at Dante. He was watching her with complete trust. She thought of her brother, her mother. She opened her mouth, and mistranslated. Changed bi-weekly shipments to weekly shipments. A small difference, enough to create impossible logistic. Mikhail frowned. Dante's brow furrowed. One of Mikhail's men corrected her in Russian, sharp and suspicious. The room temperature dropped. Mikhail looked between her and Dante. Your translator made an error. A significant one. Dante's eyes found hers. In them, she saw the exact moment trust cracked. My apologies, she stammered in Russian. I misspoke. But the damage was done. Mikhail stood. We'll revisit this when you have competent representation. He left. The deal was dead. Dante's men filed out, muttering. Finally, only Vera and Dante remained. The silence was suffocating. What happened? His voice was controlled. Too controlled. I made a mistake. You don't make mistakes. Not with language. He stepped closer. Tell me what's going on. She wanted to. God, she wanted to. But Luca's threat echoed. Your brother walks home alone. I told you I wasn't reliable. Vera. This was a mistake. All of it. Her voice cracked. I'm a waitress, Dante. Not a translator. Not whatever you've built me up to be in your head. I'm just. Don't. I'm done. I can't do this. His face hardened. Can't or won't. Does it matter? Yes. She grabbed her bag, headed for the door. He caught her arm, not rough but firm. Look at me. She couldn't. If she looked at him, she'd break. Someone got to you. Her silence was answer enough. His grip tightened. Who? It doesn't matter. The hell it doesn't. She ripped free, tears threatening. Your world is poison, Dante. It follows me, it threatens everyone I love, and I was an idiot to think I could help you without it destroying me. The words hit like bullet. She saw him flinch. Why didn't you come to me? She laughed bitterly. Because you're one of them. You think we had some moments and suddenly I'd trust you with my family's lives. His face went pale. You think I'd let anyone hurt you? I think you live in a world where people get hurt as collateral damage, and I won't let my family be part of that equation. She walked out, left him standing alone in the wreckage of everything they'd built, and broke. 2 days of silence. Vera went through the motions, diner shifts, avoiding Rita's concerned questions, jumping at every shadow. Luca texted once, good girl. Stay away from cavalry. She wanted to feel relief. She felt empty. Wednesday afternoon, her brother called. V, something weird happened. Her heart stopped. What? Are you okay? Yeah, I'm fine. But someone paid my tuition. Like, all of it. For the whole year. What? And Mom's medical bills? Cleared. Every single one. The hospital said an anonymous donor covered everything, including future treatments. Vera's hand trembled. When? This morning. Do you know anything about this? She knew. I'll call you back. She hung up, stared at her phone. A new text from an unknown number. Luca won't bother you again. Your family is safe. I'm sorry I brought my world to your door. You were right about everything. DC. Her vision blurred. Another text. You deserve better than me. But you also deserve your dreams. Check your email. With shaking hands, she opened her email. A scholarship. Full ride to Columbia's translation program. Already approved, pending her acceptance. A note. This isn't from me. I made calls, but you earned this. Your transcripts, your skills, they speak for themselves. The world just needed to listen. You don't owe me anything. But if you ever want to talk, I'll be here. Vera sat on her apartment floor and sobbed. That night, she drove to his penthouse. The doorman tried to stop her. She pushed past. Rode the elevator to the top floor, heart hammering. Knock. Dante opened the door. He looked wrecked, exhausted, unshaven, vulnerable in ways she'd never seen. They stared at each other. You paid Miguel's tuition, she said. You were right. I can't fix everything with money. But I could fix that. And my mom. She deserves care. You deserve peace. Luca is relocating to Miami. Permanently. With strong encouragement to forget you exist. Vera's breath hitched. You didn't kill him? No. But I made it clear that touching you or your family would be the last mistake he'd make. His voice was rough. I meant what I said. My world is dangerous. You were right to run. Then why did you help me? Because I'm in love with you. The words hung in the air. Vera's tears spilled over. You can't be. I know. It's illogical. You've known me 2 weeks. I've spent my whole life avoiding exactly this kind of vulnerability. He stepped closer. But watching you walk away was the worst thing I've ever felt. And I've felt a lot of bad things. Dante, I'm not asking you to come back. I'm not asking you to forgive me for dragging you into this. His voice cracked. I'm just asking you to know that meeting you changed me. You made me want to be better. To build something that isn't built on fear. What are you saying? I'm leaving. She blinked. What? The business. All of it. I'm liquidating the questionable assets, legitimizing what I can, walking away from what I can't. He laughed hollow. My associates think I've lost my mind. Maybe I have. But I don't want to be the man who makes you afraid anymore. Vera's heart was breaking and mending simultaneously. You'd give up everything? It's not everything if I'm miserable. He met her eyes. You asked me once what I wanted. I want a life where I don't have to look over my shoulder. Where the woman I love isn't threatened because of me. Where I can sleep at night. That's not an easy path. I know. It could take years. I know. You might fail. I know. He touched her face, gentle, reverent. But I'd rather fail trying to be worthy of you than succeed at being someone you're ashamed to know. Vera kissed him. Poured everything into it. Fear, hope, love, terror. When they broke apart, she whispered, I'm scared. Me too. This could go so wrong. Probably will. I don't know if I can trust this. Then let me earn it. Every day. For as long as it takes. She pulled back, looked him in the eye. I got into Columbia. Full scholarship. His face lit up, genuine joy. Vera, that's incredible. It starts in 6 weeks. Then we have 6 weeks. And after, you go be brilliant. And I'll be here, building something worth coming back to. He kissed her forehead. If you want to come back. What if I want you to come with me? He stared at her. What? New York. Fresh start. For both of us. You'd want that. I want you. The real you. Not the empire or the reputation. Just Dante. He pulled her close, buried his face in her hair. Okay. 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 6 months later. The Bluebird Diner had new ownership. Vera's name was on the deed along with Rita's. They'd kept the staff, raised wages, transformed it into exactly what the neighborhood needed. Vera stood at the counter, translating a menu for an elderly Korean woman, while Rita rang up orders. The bell chimed. Dante walked in, briefcase in hand, looking lighter than she'd ever seen him. He'd cut ties with his old life. Not easily, not without cost, but completely. Now he consulted for legitimate export companies, using his knowledge for legal enterprise. They lived in a small apartment in Queens. Nothing like his penthouse. He'd never been happier. How was class? He asked, kissing her cheek. Brutal. Professor Chun assigned 30 pages of Mandarin translation due Monday. You'll ace it. Your confidence is annoying. Your brilliance is intimidating. We're even. Rita snorted. You two are nauseating. Jealousy is unbecoming, Vera shot back. An older Russian couple entered, new to the country, struggling with the menu. Vera switched to Russian automatically, helped them order, made them feel welcome. When they were seated, the wife touched Vera's hand. Spasibo, Dorogeya. Ty napominash emini moyu vnuchku. Thank you, dear. You remind me of my granddaughter. Vera's throat tightened. Ito chest. It's an honor. She returned to Dante, who was watching with that soft expression he got when he thought she wasn't looking. What? She asked. You're exactly where you're supposed to be. The words, her grandmother's words, the ones he'd learned to say in Russian, still hit her every time. She responded in Russian, Tie toes. So are you. He pulled her close, and she let herself lean into him. It hadn't been easy. There were hard days, moments when his past reached out, when her fears crept in, when they fought about money or danger or the future. But they chose each other. Every day. Miguel visited on weekends, thriving at school. Vera's mother's MS was managed, stable. The family was intact. I have something for you, Dante said, pulling out a small box. Vera's heart stopped. Dante. It's not what you think. Open it. Inside was a key. What's this? Conference room. Downtown. I signed a lease. His eyes were bright. For a translation services company. I thought maybe, after you graduate, we could build it together. Help people like that couple. Immigrants, families, people who need a voice. Vera stared at the key, then at him. You want to build a business with me? I want to build a life with you. This seemed like a good start. She kissed him, there in the middle of the diner, while Rita cheered and customers applauded. When they broke apart, she whispered, Ask me again in a year. Ask you what? Whatever was in the box you didn't give me today. His smile could have lit the city. Deal. 1 year later. The translation center was thriving. Vera had graduated top of her class. Dante had severed every last tie to his old world. They returned to the Bluebird on the anniversary of that first meeting. Same booth. Same terrible coffee. Vera slid a cup toward him. Still awful. He grinned. Still perfect. She reached into her bag, pulled out a small box, slid it across the table. He froze. Vera. Open it. Inside was a pocket watch. Antique. Russian. Engraved on the back. Ty nastioishchi. Yitvoya. Navsegda. You are real. I am yours. Always. His eyes filled. I'm asking, she said quietly. He looked up, confused. She took his hand. I know we said we'd wait. I know traditional says you're supposed to ask me. But I've never been traditional, and I don't want to wait anymore. Her voice steady, sure. Dante Cavallari, will you marry me? He laughed, shocked, joyful, tearful. You're serious? Completely. He pulled her across the booth, kissed her like she was oxygen. Yes, yes. 1,000 times yes. Rita screamed from behind the counter. The entire diner erupted in applause. Vera laughed against his mouth, tears streaming. I love you, he whispered in Russian. I love you too, she answered in Italian. And in that booth where everything had started, where a mafia boss had panicked and a waitress had been brave, two people from opposite worlds built a future entirely their own. The end.